Listen. All right, man. First of all, Nick Cannon's gotten fired from Wildin' Out, or Viacom, I should say, and they dropped Wildin' Out. I don't know what the stipulations are behind him getting fired from Viacom and whether he has any rights to Wildin' Out, but one thing I will say is, if he does have rights to Wildin' Out, I'm still watching that shit. Pretty much. At the end of the day, this guy got legitimately fired from a television network that used to be black owned. It's not even black owned anymore at all. If you guys are not up on game, BET is not black owned. Viacom, that whole network is not black owned. MTV, VH1, none of it. It's owned by the same person and it's not black owned in any way. Secondly, Nick Cannon says something that was not only a fact and truthful, but he also says something that hit a nerve, which one makes you wonder, like, first of all, okay, he hit a nerve. How did he hit a nerve? And he didn't say anything negative. He didn't say, I hate white people. He didn't say white people are pieces of trash. He didn't say, all of these different things that he could have said. He didn't say any of that. He basically said that if you were to look at white people's history, they have a history of being savage. And he didn't even go as far to say that. He said the people who were in the Caucasus Mountains were, and I'm paraphrasing what he said because I don't have the exact quote, but paraphrasing what he said, he basically said that the people who were in the Caucasus Mountains, who were basically left up there for so many, decades and years, that they originally were humane, civilized people, they got put in an atmosphere and environment where they are actually turned against each other and against other people, and are now savages, and the compassion that they had in their hearts before, they no longer have, and that has been transferred genetically to other people. And here's what I want you guys to think about. He said that black people are the real Jews. They're the real Israelites. They're the real Semitic people, which is 100% true. Where, first of all, is Israel? Israel is in Africa. Yes, it's not a part of Africa as we know it today, but it was a part of Africa back then. The land, since Africa has been a continent, has somewhat shifted and split off, but Israel has always been a part of Africa. It's still, technically speaking, a part of Africa, the continent. It's right next to Egypt. Actually, you can go to a part of Israel that I've been to that is also a part of Egypt and another part of another country. I don't even remember the country off the top of my head, but these are just things that a lot of people don't know and don't research. So that's the first thing. Second thing, in Africa, where are most of the melanated people? In Africa, okay? They're in Israel. They're in Egypt. The people that are actually right now in Israel are white. They did not originally come from that place. They migrated there. Those people are Ashkenazi Jews, like the German Jews that you guys saw that Hitler tried to take out. The reason why Hitler tried to take out the Jewish people is because he said, and I quote, they are not the original Jewish people. Black people are the true Jewish people, and these people are pretending to be what black people actually are. These are all facts, okay? This is stuff that has been documented in history. So he didn't say anything wrong. He said something that made somebody feel some type of way. Now, it would have been fucked up if he would have said some shit like, hey, Jewish people are horrible, evil people, and they should be put to death like Hitler did. That would be some fucked up shit. He didn't say anything like that. What he said was, hey, the original black man are the original Jews. They are the original Semitic people. That's where that came from. That is a fact, 100%. You go back, you look at Ethiopian history, you look at the oldest Bible still known to man that has never been changed or touched. It is back in Ethiopia. It has pictures of black people in there. It talks about black people. Ash, Kemet, Cush, all of these things are saying black people. That's what the original text said. It was talking about us as in melanated people. Now, if you want to have a disagreement with history and with facts, that's absolutely fine. That's your opinion, but that doesn't change the fact that things are as he said. I don't want to go off on a tangent. I'll put it to you like this. White people have a history of violence and savagery. You look at Vikings, you look at the entire U.S. history. We have literally, we're probably the only country, honestly. I don't know, I haven't fact checked this, But if you were to look it up, we're probably the only country that has been in war as much as we have. Look that shit up. We've been in war since we started the country. We started the country with the war. Okay? 1776. The Revolutionary War. Back in your history books. Stuff that they taught you when you were growing up. Right? Then you had what war? The next great war wasn't even the one that was in 1865. That was the Civil War. We had war in between there because the entire time that they were putting this country into place, they were still fighting off Native Americans and trying to take other people's land. So they also had wars in between that Revolutionary War of 1776 and the War of 1865, which is the Civil War, or 1866, whatever it was. All of those wars, 1864, whatever. All of those are just partial wars. Then we get into the 1900s. We had wars all the way from the early 1900s, 1920, all the way up to 1990 when we actually had Desert Storm. Then we go into the 2000s. 2001 we had a war. Now we're also in 2020. We're still at war right now with other countries. We are the only country that has war as much as we have it. And if you really want to go down to the down and dirty and say, well, who was in charge of pushing those buttons? The people who are in office that are generals and top politicians and senators and congressmen right now that actually vote on sending our brothers and sisters to war, those are white people. They don't care that you're sending these people off to war because at the end of the day, it's not them and it's not their kids. They could give two shits about us. And when I say us, I don't mean black people. I'm talking about people, period. White, black, Latino, Asian, all of us. They don't give two shits about us. I've seen brothers and sisters when I was in the military that went in that literally had no idea what a black person was or how black people acted. And to them, I acted like a white person, quote unquote, because I acted proper. Because they assumed, based on everything they saw on television, that black people were all hood, cursed a lot, talked with a lot of slang, spoke with pretty much ignorance, and were completely ignorant people that had no type of representation, culture, or reservation. They didn't have any type of class, is how they would probably put it. Now, I say all this to say, they fired this guy for speaking, number one, facts and truth. On top of firing this guy for speaking facts and truth, they also fired this guy because at the end of the day, he said something that made them feel uncomfortable. Now, you have to ask yourself, why would what he said make them feel so uncomfortable that they would have to fire this guy? They didn't sit him down and reprimand him and have a conversation. They actually went as far as to say, we are severing ties. We are no longer considering ourselves to have a relationship with Nick Cannon, and we're dropping his show. That's cool. Why would you drop his show? Why wouldn't you just fire him as a person? Oh, you're trying to affect his money now too. I guarantee you they're still behind closed doors trying to get him fired from other networks that he's a part of, like Fox and all these other things, which is pretty much disrespectful and messed up, because if you were to come out and say some shit like all black people like watermelon, nobody would fire your ass. Period. As a matter of fact, people might laugh at it, and you might have more comments of racist people in the comments saying shit like, oh, well, that's probably true. When in all reality, when you go back and look at the facts, black people used to, and still to this day, sell watermelons. And because they were selling watermelons back in the day and making money from it and doing very well from it, white people actually came up with the quote-unquote stereotype. This way they could label them bad people and watermelon lovers, because they would say, oh my gosh, these black people sure do love their watermelon, because they were selling them and making money selling them. What the fuck else am I supposed to do, white guy? You told me I can't own land. You told me I can't own slaves, which I don't need to, but just pointing this out. You told me that I can't have a white wife. You told me that I cannot have my own business. You basically told me that without you, I am nothing. That's how you set it up. These are all laws. If you guys don't believe me, look at a lady whose name is Jacqueline Badalora. She actually goes into detail on every single part of everything I'm saying. She speaks on how white people, literally white people, and I'm saying white people, and I don't mean the people right now to this day that are still living, obviously, but I am talking about your ancestors. They put into place laws to keep black people in a subservient place so that they would continue to make and pass down generational wealth to their children's 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 children. So much so that when people say, oh, well, I don't have white privilege, I've had to pull myself up by my bootstraps just like you have and work hard to get what I have. Ma'am, have you ever been pulled over by police and had a gun pulled on you for speaking? Ma'am, have you ever went to a bank and been declined a loan for no apparent reason other than the color of your skin? Ma'am, have you ever went into a courtroom and for the same exact crime as your white counterpart been given 3 times as much time of sentencing in jail or prison? Ma'am, have you ever, as young as 11 years old, literally 11 years old, been condemned to die by a jury of people that are not the same as your culture? All of these things. Have you ever been made to have sex with your own mother? Do you know where the term motherfucker comes from? Let me drop some real knowledge for you real quick if you don't know. The term motherfucker comes from back in slavery. They didn't have enough slaves, and it was so hard to bring slaves over from Africa that they said, you know what we'll do? We'll just start populating our own slaves. We already have the people, just have the moms and dads have sex with each other until they can have more babies. Oh, we killed the dad already? That's fine. Grab the son, put a bag over the son's head and make him have sex with his own mom so that he can have kids. And when he has kids, he can actually take this brother/son that he now has and put them in slavery right next to him. And then they would make jokes and say shit like, look at this motherfucker. This is the evil shit that we are talking about. So when we talk about the fact that motherfuckers are evil, no, we're not talking about all white people, but we are talking about the people who back then had slavery. And if you really think that at the end of the day, all of that shit just died in 1865 when slavery was abolished, you got another motherfucking thing coming. Because at the end of the day, we still got white people out here who are talking about owning black people as if it's a fucking option. Like it's a good thing. Like this is something that is cool to talk about. I wish I would talk about owning a fucking white person or their daughter or their kids or something like that. Or raping or taking advantage of them in any type of way. I would be goddamn fired in a fucking second. Fired. I would also probably be cursed out by all of my friends who happen to be white. I don't have white friends. I just have friends who are also white. That's the difference with all of you motherfuckers that are out here saying stupid shit like, I can't be racist, I have black friends. No, bitch, you have friends that are black. That's what you have. But you have black friends because you have those specific friends so that you can say that you are not racist. Let me explain something to you. Those are probably not your friends. And I don't mean it in a way that they won't be friends to you. I mean it that if 10,000 white people were marching down your street right now, pulled out guns on those same black people and said, are you with us or with them? Because we're about to shoot all of these motherfuckers. I guarantee you your ass would not stand with those black people and get shot down dead in the street. You would go right on the other fucking side and watch those same quote unquote black friends get shot in front of you, and you would do absolutely nothing but march with that fucking white crowd to the next people who's about to get murdered. And that's exactly what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's exactly what happened in Rosewood. And that's exactly what happened in Central Park and other places around the world. When white people wanted to have their way, other white people would not stand in the way and say, no, this is wrong. We are just now getting to a point where a majority of people, and we thank you guys for this, that are white, that are actually taking responsibility and standing in the way of other white people who are trying to do black people harm and saying, hey, this is wrong. And I appreciate that so much. We love you guys for it. I hope that you don't take offense to everything that I said. But at the end of the day, everything needs to be said. It needs to be out in the open. And unfortunately, when we look at how we have to put this history out, it does hurt. If you were my son, right? If you were my son and you told me, Dad, your brother, right, that you grew up with, that you love so dearly, raped me last night, I probably would not want to believe that. I probably would not. It would hurt me so much that I would probably cry inside because I would feel, how could I let my son be taken advantage of by my brother? Same way that white people feel when we say things like, hey man, you guys have some evil history. You guys have some very, very crazy characteristics and genetics that put you guys in a position that makes me feel threatened for my life. Actually, when we say these things, you guys feel offended, almost to the point where you're like, why would you say that about me? Why would you come at me like this, black man? I love you, brother. I don't have any hate for you. Same thing. We don't have any hate for white people. We don't. If you look at our history, we are probably the most compassionate people on this earth. Who else do you know that has been treated as bad as the black culture? I don't know another ethnicity that has been treated this way. I really, truly don't. And that only shows me that we are God's people. God is the only person that you have ever heard that has literally been tortured, abused, and crucified. And all the while all of these things are happening, what is he saying? I love you. I love my people. I still love you. I know that you're listen, God forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. Come on, man. Y'all gotta wake up, man. I'm not even gonna say y'all gotta wake up. Y'all, it's no longer, we can't even say wake up anymore. I don't want y'all to wake up. You know what I want y'all to do? I want y'all to be realistic. I want y'all to be fucking realistic and really admit that, hey, we did some fucked up shit in the past. We got to take responsibility for it. Because if the tables were turned like the fucking, I wish I would have came up with that fucking episode. I already had the idea of the TV show Cracker. I can't wait for that show to come out. You know what the fuck is probably going to happen when that show Cracker comes out? And if you don't know what Cracker is literally a show that shows slavery in the opposite way, where white people are now slaves and black people are the slave owners. And I'm not saying I can't wait for that show to come out because I want to see somebody enslaved such as white people. I'm saying I can't wait for that show to come out because it gives a clear as day example of how slavery was and how bad it actually was. And it will allow white people for the first time in fucking history to see, if they haven't already, that slavery was some really fucked up shit. And unfortunately, slavery should have never happened the way that it did. And it should have never been allowed to progress as long as it did. And it should not have allowed people to continue to be the way that they are right now. All of this stuff is just stuff that we should already know, but they've been trying to keep it from us for years. And at the end of the day, I'll say this. I love all people. White, black, brown, yellow, green, red. I don't care. But I refuse to sit by and watch people, and I'm talking to all people, be persecuted, executed, tortured, abused, or mistreated in any way, because it's unnecessary. It's completely unnecessary. The fact that we literally right now have women and children in cages separated from their brothers and sisters and mothers, and then when these women, children that are in cages are sent back to be deported to their own country, but hold on, right before they get deported to their own country, they're actually raped for an hour in darkness next to their daughters before they're sent back to their own country, and nobody is supposed to hear this. All of these types of things that are happening, come on, man. Y'all gotta look this stuff up, man. Y'all still think it's cool to be deporting people? It's cool if you want to deport them. Deport them. Don't hold these people in cages and take advantage of and rape and abuse them and mistreat their children and take them and put them in all types of sex trafficking and slavery. Come on, man. Come the fuck on, bro. You think black people are out here taking children like this? You think... I'm going to leave it at this, guys. It's really a fucked up world that we live in right now. Some stuff I can't even talk about, man. It's just I don't know. I don't know how.